Good evening, Rabbi.
I was unable to open it.
Erev Tov, Rabbi Prague. Rabbi, it was me, Rabbi. You can ignore it.
Larry, it's so nice to see you here, Larry.
Thank you, Rabbi Prague. It's good to see all of you.
What is the time by you now?
Now it's what time is it now? 7:12.
Not bad.
Well, in the
No,
morning?
no. Yes, in the morning.
Okay.
Morning. Not bad.
No, I didn't sleep. It's okay. It worked out perfectly.
A long day.
Yeah, it's okay, but
It took me time to open the computer. I don't know. Okay, anyway, fine. The first topic is the parasha. It's a long topic. Which type of woman Kohen Gadol can marry, a regular Kohen? Did you ever think about it? It's mamash pele. How come Kohen Gadol cannot become tameh to anyone except to met mitzvah, and a regular Kohen for seven relatives? How come the Kohen Gadol cannot become tameh to seven relatives? I saw today two very interesting interpretations. One is very interesting. Remember the Gemara says in the end of Makot that the mothers of the Kohanim Gedolim used to send packages of food to their murderers in various locations of refuge cities. Why? To prevent the murderers, from praying that the children should die. So the Gemara said, let them pray as much as they want. If the Kohen Gadol is a righteous man, he wouldn't die. We decide to pray that someone should die. Why should he die? The Gemara answers, yeah? The Kohen Gadol is to be blamed slightly. Why? If he would have prayed correctly, murders would not occur. Which means that at least in the first Beit HaMikdash, we look at the Kohen Gadol as a man who is responsible for everyone in the Jewish nation, which means his tefillot, you hear how far the tefillot has to go? That someone in Tzfat, someone in Eilat, someone in Beersheba did not kill Beshogeg. You hear, so we expect him to feel for every Jew as we feel for our seven relatives, father, mother, brother, sister, wife. Which means if the Kohen Gadol is going to become tameh to his brother, sister, which means he is my brother. Every Jew you never met in Tzfat is your brother also. It's a mavhil, I mean, I can easily say it, but this is the expectations we have from Kohen Gadol. So this is why, which means if he would sit Shiva on his relatives, basically he is saying, yes, these are my relatives. This is the way we look, and we have to look at it this way. Not to Kohen Gadol. This is what the Kotzker Rebbe said. Now, other Kohanim cannot become tameh to anyone except seven relatives. So I saw today also, this is Be'emet, very interesting. Is it, remember, it's only a question for the answer, but is it good or bad to go to a funeral? Ezra used to perform services for free for people who didn't have family, whatever. The Pasuk says in Kohelet, Tov la'lechet el beit ha'avel, v'lechet el beit ha'mishter. Why? V'hachai yiten el libo. I have a friend here. I'm older than him, but he comes to my shiur. He volunteers for the Borough Park Bikur Cholim. Whenever they have to purify a body before the funeral, he goes. He says to me, he told me a few times, he says, I saw everything you can imagine. Everything you can imagine. Young and old, body as well. He says to me, sometimes I cannot function during the day what I saw. Many times he says to me, my prayers are different prayers. Because I washed the body this morning, yes? Physically, you washed before you put it tachrichim. Here's I think the Chida or someone says, regular Kohanim are Kohanim, they cannot become Tameh. But from time to time, you have to be reminded. You have to go to a cemetery. You have to see that by the end, we're all going into a wooden box and down. And what they write on the tombstone is not how many vacations we took, is how much chesed, which type of people. You hear this? But the Kohen Gadol does not even need that. You hear this? Regular Kohanim cannot become Tameh, but the Torah says, by your relatives, you are permitted to go to the cemetery. Remember, it's not only to attend the funeral, you go to the cemetery. The Kohen Gadol is above that, and he doesn't need it. I mean, can you imagine how the Torah looked on the Kohanim Gadolim during the first temple? Rabbi Luxton used to say, this is what his students told me, students that took lessons in how to become rabbi. He says his biggest influence in his community is after the funeral, when the family goes into the cemetery, he's asking permission, can I come along and sit in the same car? He says this 45-an-hour ride is the biggest opportunity to make the relatives think or change a little. Why? The body of the father, mother, brother is there. People are open to hear. Says the Torah, even Kohanim need it. The 7 relatives, or Met Mitzvah, of course. But the Kohen Gadol doesn't need even that. But it's a different look, you realize, on what Avinut is about. And you can see, okay, לא צריכים להאריך בזה. The Pesukim say here, the Pesukim are teaching us that the Kohen that has a physical blemish, the Gemara says there are, I think, around 80 type of, is pasul to serve Beit HaMikdash. We live in a society that we really feel and respect people who are handicapped, who are trying to help them. Why is the Torah saying they cannot serve Beit HaMikdash? Again, he can come to Beit HaMikdash, there are many services he can do, but he cannot really bring korbanot. Why? The שאלה רצינית מאוד.
Well, it's the same way you can't bring a karban with a patsua, you cannot bring...
Yofi, but here's Yofi. But there's a big difference. The Navi Malachi says, Hakriveyu na lepechatecha, ha'irtzecha or ha'isa panecha, which means, if I give you a very nice gift, As a matter of fact, I had a good set of Be'emet, old print of good Chumashim, but my wife says, look, the box of the Chumashim is broken. What is the box? No, I can't give a gift like this. You coming to Beit HaMikdash with an animal of a blemish, it's a statement about us, yes? But I'm asking you, the Kohen. He's a perfect Kohen. His finger was the kushia chazaka mode, especially a man.
You could say the same thing with an esrog.
No, but the reason why I learned a long time ago is because if the person that's bringing the korban sees the Kohen Gadol, damaged or whatever, he's not going to concentrate on the korban, which he's bringing for. He's going to concentrate on looking at the Kohen, and the whole his whole.
What Miko says is Sefer.
Oh, that's the Rambam says that in Hilchos Nesias Kapayim, that's why the people will look on the Kohen.
Right. The Rambam says it. The Rambam says it by Kohanim. A Kohen that has a mum on his hands, people are going to focus on him. This, Miko, what you say, Sefer HaChinuch says, because we are so sensitive to people, see, if you see a Kohen that has a blemish, instead of focusing on the place, on Beit HaMikdash, and the environment, you're focused on him. So you're missing the point. So on the contrary, the reason why the Kohen is out is because of that. Kacha omer Sefer HaChinuch. But you see, when it comes to korbanot, as you said, it's Malachi omer, yeah? הקריבהו נא לפחתך, ארצך, או הישא פניך, yes? There is a fascinating pasuk here. Remember, what I'm going to say is a remez, but it's a very interesting remez. That pasuk says like this. Listen carefully to the pasuk. Ubat ish kohen ki teichel is not. This is not a single young lady, the daughter of a kohen. The daughter of a kohen who is married, a normal married woman who has an affair, is chenek. If she's a daughter of a kohen married, she gets sreifa. Ubat ish kohen ki teichel is not. את אביה היא מחללת, באש תישרף. Interestingly enough, מה פירוש המילים בת איש כהן? If you look later in the parasha, the Torah relates to בת כהן, כנית תרומה, ובת כהן, כנית קורבן. מה זה בת איש כהן? Says the Sefer Oznaim LaTorah, the Bat Ish means you, the Kohen, you didn't do your job the right way, bringing up the girl. The Gemara is always blaming the parents. This is Ish Kohen. Your Kohen is degraded. Esav was Ish Sadeh. Yaakov was Ish Yoshev Oali Vishtam. You, the Gemara says in the end of the Anit that when the Greeks took over the Beit HaMikdash, a daughter it came from a family of Kohanim, Yudis, she married the commander in the Greek army. She walked into the area of Beit HaMikdash and she kicked the Mizbeach. And she said, Lucus, Ad ma'ata ata mechale mamonam shel Yisrael, which means she's, so to say, yelling on the Mizbeach, because of you, so much Jewish money went to waste. The Gemara says it later when the Greeks were knocked down. Her father's mishmeret, the Kohanim are divided to 24 groups. Each group comes twice a year for a week. The mishmeret was pushed away and they took away some of the rights. Why? If the fact that she married a goy is terrible. But to come and to use such a dirty language in Beit HaMikdash, the Gemara says, obviously, she heard something in her house, made her look. כך כתוב בגמרא, שוטה דינוקה ביבוע או באמא. If you hear certain style of language that kids spoke, they heard it in the house. So this is Ubat Ish Kohen, Kiteichel is not. Now, ככה בספר אוזניים התורה היום. אבל ראיתי עוד דבר מאוד מעניין. ראיתי ממש דבר מעניין מאוד, זה קצת דרוש, אבל זה מאוד מאוד מעניין. I have to read you a story from Gemara Sanhedrin. Larry, you have access there to all your books?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, יופי. Let me just tell you here. Says the Chida, listen, please open Sanhedrin Tzadi Gimel, Sanhedrin 93a. Listen, it's an interesting story, but what the Chida says at the end, I'll come at the end, I'll tell you what the Chida says based on this Gemara. But it's only Remes, but the מעניין מאוד. מה שמעניין is the story in the Gemara. תזכרו that every time the Gemara gives you names of people. So if you have it, 93a, in the white lines, the Gemara tells us that there's a prophecy that every time people want to curse, something bad should happen to other people, they would say, whatever happened to Tzidkiyahu and Achab, two false prophets, that the king of Babel burned them alive, this is what should happen to our enemies. Listen carefully what happened there. And the Navi says, because they had a relationship with women, listen to the story. My Avud, you have it? It's in the middle of the white. Let's listen to a fascinating story. My Avud, Azul, they went, Legabei Bratei de Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had a very attractive young lady. These two have claimed to be prophets. Listen to a Jewish coach.
93a?
Yeah, in the middle, Sanhedrin. In the middle of the line. They come to Nebuchadnezzar. Achab, one of the prophets, says to the daughter of the Nebuchadnezzar, Ko Amar Hashem, I had a prophecy, Ishami al Tzidkiyah. He's very smart. He's not saying I had a prophecy, you have to have a relationship with me. I had a prophecy, you have to have a relationship with my friend. Fine. Of course, his friend comes and tells her, I had a prophecy that you have to have a relationship with my friend. This way they cover for each other. She was very smart, but she's afraid also. Two prophets. She went to her father. Her father is Nebuchadnezzar. Amar la, listen to a goy, a terrible goy, a rasha, Nebuchadnezzar. Amar la, Elohayim shel elu, soneh zimau. The Jewish God hates adultery. Next time they come to you with this prophecy, the name of God, send them to me. Ki atu legabach shadartinu legabai. Send them to me. Ki atu legabach, they came again to her. She says to them, go to my father first. Listen carefully now. Amar lehu Nebuchadnezzar says to the two prophets, false prophets, Man Amar lechon, who told you this prophecy that you have to have Amru le HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not more, not less. says to them, Hanania, Mishael, Azariah, I asked three of your greatest people, Hanania, Mishael, and Azariah, is it possible that God tells people to do something like this? ואמרו לי אסור. אמרו לי, ענן נמי נביא עקבתיו. We are prophets like they are. לדידהו לא אמר לו, he didn't say yes. לדידן אמר לו, we are great. Now Nebuchadnezzar, you have to give the guy a credit. אמר לו, ענה בעינא יבדקינכו. כי איכא דבדקתינו לחנניה מישאל פיריס. I tested the three by throwing them into a furnace of fire. I know that they are real. You claim to be real, greater than them. Let's have the same test. Let me throw you into a furnace of fire. Now they know that if he puts them in, they'll become charcoals. אמרו לי, אינון תלתיו ובענן תרי. There were three. This is why they were saved. We are two. אמר לו, choose any third person, I'll throw him into the fire together with you. They know that they have no chance. אמרו יהושע כהן גדול. Hear this? They would like to be thrown to the fire, the Kohen Gadol. Savre, they believed. Laite Yoshua, the Nafis Zechute, he had many Zechuyot.
Okay.
Umagnaran, listen to this. But you, Misken, he has no choice. Shadinu, so they throwing into the fire three, the two false prophets who claim this, and Inu Iklu, they got burned. Yoshua Kohen Gadol, Yicharuche Manei, his garments burned a little bit. Shene'emar, the Gemara brings a pasuk, Vayareini et Yoshua Kohen Gadol עומד לפני מלאך Hashem. Now, Yoshua Kohen Gadol is walking out of the furnace of fire there. אמר לו, ידענה לצדיקה. He says to the Kohen Gadol, I know that you are righteous. אלא מהי טעמה ההני בחפותא? How come the fire did touch your garments? חנניה, מישאל ועזריה, לא ההני והוא כלל. They walked out untouched. Remember, he has to give an answer to Nebuchadnezzar. אמר לו, אין הוטלת אהבו וענה אחד. Three people are there, the zechut is bigger. אמר לי ואברהם יחידה, אברהם אבינו was thrown to the fire by Nimrod. Says the Kohen Gadol to Nebuchadnezzar, הטעם לא אבו רשים בעיני. Abraham was alone without רשעים. ולא התייעב רשות על הנורס, and the fire couldn't touch him. Hacha, I was with two רשעים. Fine. Now the Gemara wants to know, listen to this now. This was a good excuse to him. But the Gemara wants to know what is the reason. Nothing happens to him, but some of his garments were burned. אמר רב פאפא שהיו בניו נושאים נשים שאינם הגונות לכהונה. His children married women that are unfit to כהנים, as we read in this parasha, ולא מיכה בהם. And the father did not rebuke. If you remember the same.
That's Eli. Eli's the same
exactly
thing.
As it happened by Eli. Exactly.
Exactly the same thing.
שנאמר, ויהושע היה לבוש בגדים צועים. The pasuk describes the Kohen Gadol wearing בגדים צועים, dirty garments. As you all know, אסור לכהן. It's פסול to do a service. מה זה בגדים? וכי דרכו של יהושע ללבוש בגדים צרים, אלא מלמד שהיו בניו נושאים נשים שאינם הגונות לכהונה ולא מחבם. Okay, this is a big topic. A person who has the power to rebuke or to say or to stop and he's not doing it, he's becoming an accomplice. Listen to what the Rav Chida says. I'm reading you the pasuk again. Remember, it's a remez, but it's a very interesting remez. תגובת איש כהן כי תאחר לזנות, דעו לרופא כהן, who is not loyal to her husband, את אביה היא מחללת, באש תשרף, והכהן הגדול מאחיו. Says the Rav Chida, the reason why הכהן הגדול מאחיו is written right after באש תשרף, it's only a remez to this event that took place with Yehoshua Kohen Gadol in Sanhedrin, Gimel. It's a remez, obviously, but what is the point of this Dvar Torah? The point of the Dvar Torah is that very often what the kid is sensing in the house, little things that we don't realize for good or bad, obviously. For good or bad. How many times I hear kids saying, how many times we say, how many times many customs that we have, we do or we don't do, because my father didn't do it, or the opposite, my father did it. Told you many years ago, was teaching a class of juniors, we read the Chumash, this week's parasha, that you cannot use a razor. Okay, my answer was a different parasha. The kid says to me, I hear, but he raises his hand. He says, my father is using a razor. So of course, unfortunately, his father was uneducated. So I told him, what do you do with the pasuk? I took out the Rambam. What do you do with the Rambam? Says, my father is doing it. Of course, but he meant to say, of course, that he is doing it. Then he says to me, but my grandfather is also doing it. Understand, as if his father and his... The answer is, unfortunately, years later, he came to me, he says to me, I know, I was wrong, yes. But this kid was be'emet. He says to me, I hear what you show me from the pasuk, but Abba Sheni does it. This deep trust to what you see in your house is good and bad, right? It's good or bad. If the parents are positive role models, it's amazing. See, amongst Faradim and Hasidim, this notion that whatever my father does is very good, they have it very strong. This is why Hasidim would never change customs, all the preparations for Pesach, and even though many of the reasons why we're so strict don't exist, this is what the Hasidim have a phrase, but Azeret Mazach Gefirt in the Heim. This is the way for grandparents. Everything comes from this psukim, yes?
Rabbi, I have a question on the Perashah. It talks about the holidays, and then it talks about the menorah and the shulchan, and then after it talks about somebody that's a blasphemer. What's the connection? How do why should they put it at the end?
You mean how come at the end of the parasha?
Right, it talks about.
The Torah talks about. Okay.
Isn't it connected to what do you call it?
Basically, I'm reading you now. It's a Gemara, but Rashi brings it. The psukim before are telling us that every Shabbat the Kohanim take out the old bread and they put fresh bread. And the pasuk says ביום השבת יערכנו הכהן. And he made fun. What Hashem is the bread, is that. This is why the Torah is writing it right after. But you see what really happens here, it's Be'emet, it's connected to the topic of the parasha. Who is this man? This man is a man that the Egyptian, in the beginning of Sefer Shemot, raped his mother. So legally, his mother is Jewish. But which tribe does he belong to? Reuven, his father is not from Reuven, Shimon. Everyone pushed him away.
Done.
He wanted to be right, he wanted to be by Dan. Says my father, yes, my mother is from Dan. They kished him out. Then he went and he was cursing. You understand? The Pele is, yes. But look, the Pasuk says it, yes. Vayetze ben Isha Israeli, who ben Ish Mitzri, his father was.
Egyptian.
But you see, this is the point. Rashi says that he converted. Question is, why was it necessary for him to convert if his mother is Jewish? באמת, it's a מחלוקת ראשונים, even להלכה. The father is a goy, but we are posek that there's no need for conversion. Here, Rashi takes the position that the real question, of course, is did they give him a warning or they didn't give him a warning? So this is the only place that the Gemara in Sanhedrin talks about it, that the jail is mentioned by Yanichu Bamishmar. Of course, by Yosef you have a jail, but this is a non-Jewish state. By Yanichu Bamishmar, they placed him in jail, Kilopu, Lefarash them to know what to do. What's really amazing is that if you go to the end of the parasha, now we move into a man who is doing damages. At the end of the parasha is Vaydaber Moshe al Bnei Yisrael v'yotziu otem mekavel al mechutz lamachane, and they stoned him. And it says, Uvenei Yisrael asu kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe. What is kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe? Obviously. This was a big humiliation for the people, yes? A very big humiliation. They didn't stone him out of revenge. You humiliated us. We are only short time in the Midbar, and this is what you do. Only kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe, which means even if we have to do something negative, it has to be done. Do it only because it has to be done, not because you have a personal interest, or in this case, personal grudge against the. So Larry, enjoy the Shabbat. So where are you going to be on Shabbat, Larry?
Yeah, well, right now I'm in Delhi, and I'm meeting Effie in the airport in about 2 hours, and we're flying to Kathmandu, so we're going to be by Chabad of Kathmandu.
Wow.
And they hope to have a minyan there and everything.
Are you kidding? It's huge. Yes, there's so many people supposedly. I think it's one of the biggest because so many trekkers from Israel come stop there. Meanwhile, I saw Rabbi
They
Prague.
live there.
Yeah, they live there, and I saw Rabbi Prague that they just canceled Lag BaOmer and the Hadlakah for everybody in Eretz Yisrael. No Hadlakah bichlal.
Why?
Because there was a lot of security concerns.
The Arabs are looking for the Hamas. They're looking for opportunities to strike and to have.
And there's no way to control the whole thing.
You mean it's not only in Miron? It's even any public. Wow.
I didn't see, but nothing in Meron, and because originally there was supposed to be only 1,500 people, and then because I know Steve is there, Steve went also, so I didn't speak to him, but I will shortly, and it's unbelievable.
So have a wonderful Shabbat, giving warm
You too.
regards.
It's good to see you, Rabbi Prager. Good to see everybody.
Thank you for coming into the class.
Joy.
Have a good
I'll
one.
see you.
Bye, guys. Shabbat shalom.
Pesach
Sheni.
Shabbat shalom from me here.
Tomorrow is Pesach Sheni, yeah. Remember not to say Tachlon tomorrow.
Today means today.
I'll see you later.